Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my review of Casino Royale. I went into this book, I feel like, with an open mind and very quickly was like, this is not for me. I finished the whole book and I will say this is mainly due to the version I had is the Audible version, and this was read by Richard Armitage, who could read the back of the cereal box and I would be like, more, tell me more. So that was why I was like, you know what, I'll just finish this. But I definitely did not connect with this. The character is not for me. James Bond, for me, I know like one movie I've seen, I think it was Skyfall, and I didn't like it, but I thought the books have got to be better. The books are always better. And in some ways it was better, and in some ways it was significantly worse than I could have imagined. So, I think I'll start with the positives in case you want to hear positive things, and I will then give a brief overview and then tell you all the things that like I will turn me off from reading any more James Bond. But I did get a ring light. Let me know if you think that this lighting is better, if it affects it at all, if there's any difference, please tell me in the comments. All right, let's talk about the positives. So I do think that the writing for Casino Royale, and this is Ian Fleming, is good. I have no problem with the writing. The story flow is fine. It's a little draggy at the end, but the writing and the immersive like atmosphere, especially at the casino, well done. I felt like, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand, even though I don't gamble and I've never been in a casino. I was like, oh no, you really feel like you're there. Like it was well done. I feel like the setup of the story is well done, and the execution of the actual like game was pretty tense, even though I don't know the game. It was Baccarat, I think. I'm probably saying it wrong, but that's the game they were playing, and I don't know how to play it, but I was invested. I was like, oh yeah, he could lose. And it was pretty tense. The other thing that I think is really good and was really, really well done is that Bond is a mortal man. He is not amazing. He loses a lot. He gets beat up a lot. He is not a Mary Sue. He is written to where you know he's just a guy. And I think that was really a strength of the book, to make him so human, so mortal, to where you always felt like, yeah, he could lose. Like there's nothing preventing him. Like he doesn't have any special abilities, special knowledge that he can't be outsmarted, outclassed as far as like fighting and all that. Yeah, it happened all the time. And I think that that's great. Like that's how you should write these kind of characters, to where there's like real danger and peril, and you really feel like, oh, well, it's not like he can just, use his magical abilities and suddenly like be invincible. Like he's actually just a guy. It's not like how they made John Wick in the later films. Okay, moving on from that because I'm annoyed. But yeah, that is a strength of this character, not like the way that he's portrayed. The actual strengths of Bond's character are none, but I will get into that. I do think that it's an interesting story, and I think that it was well executed. There's my positives. I definitely thought some of the side characters were very fun. I wish we would have more of the American agent that you meet, and there was another agent that helps him, and those were well-written characters. Like I was interested in them, and they are, it's just cool to have like different agents and different people and the interactions, and then kind of like the talking back to headquarters. It was nicely done. Okay, so the setup for this story is going to be that there is a Russian agent who has lost a ton of money, basically investing in these brothels, and right before apparently this prostitution became illegal. So like he like invested in all these brothels, and then they were like, that's an illegal business. So he lost all this money, but it wasn't his to lose. It was basically the Russian, government that he's working for. So he didn't have this money. He just lost all this money that is theirs. And so they're onto it, and they're probably going to send someone to kill him. And the spy agency that James Bond works for, he's 007, they're like, listen, we need to get in there. We need to go to this casino, because the Russian guy's plan is to go to this casino and win back that money before the Russian agents come to get him. So he's going to gamble it all, risk everything on this game, and he's going to get all the money back before they can come and be like, where's our money? So if that seems a little bit ridiculous, I'm like, well, it is, but also like gamblers do really dumb stuff. So here we go. So That's the plan, and then James Bond is supposed to make sure he does not win. They do not want him to be able to recoup his losses. They don't want him to be able to get this money. They want him to be taken out. Either, they assume that he'll eventually be taken out by the Russians, and they want this guy removed. He's such a higher up in this organization. He's a bad guy. Get rid of him. So that is the whole thing. And I think it's good because it's not like world-ending stakes. This is not like he has a nuclear weapon. It's not like he has these bombs that he's going to place around the city. There's not going to be a deadly pathogen that's unleashed. It's very small stakes. It's a game of, that they're playing. And James Bond just has to win and make sure that the other guy loses. So that's the setup of the story. And so they send him and he starts, kind of showing himself at the casino and being yeah, I'm a high stakes player and I've got a lot of money. And that's kind of where we start off with this. Okay, let's talk about all the things that I hate about this novel. I can take a lot. I do not care if a book has stereotypes or things that are oh yeah, that's not how we would talk in modern day. I can take a lot. But I assume that this story was setting up why James Bond has this misogynistic attitude. And that this would be, I kind of figured this would be okay, yeah, he's fine until something happens and he gets screwed over by a woman or whatever, and then we're going to see why that developed. No, he hates women from day one. There is no there's no reasoning. And I will say, I don't think that the book is making this point, but I will make the point that it's his hatred of women that is going to cause him to make the mistakes that he makes. He's so disdainful of women that he can't see that he's being outsmarted by one. Okay, there you have it, James. He smokes 70 cigarettes a day or more, because at one point it's he's on his 70th cigarette of the day, and I was listen, you don't need to worry about Russian agents. You need to worry about lung cancer. What is that? 70 cigarettes? I have chain smokers in my family, and I have never. He is there at the casino, like I said, and he is told that he's going to have a partner sent over from headquarters. And of course, it ends up being a woman. And he's ugh, calling her a B word. He's so upset, she's going to ruin everything. Women always get in the way. Why can't they stay home with their pots and their pans? And I was if nothing else is going to push you to being a feminist, it's this baloney. And I get that this is written in 1958, but I'm I have read classics. I've read so many books written that would never. I don't mind classic literature. I don't mind books that are seen as being outdated. I have never seen women portrayed like this, where the male character is so hateful and disdainful without reason. We have no reason for this other than women are for one purpose only. And not, well, he's working. He doesn't want to be distracted from his work. Later, yeah, we can sleep together, but not while work is involved. Yeah, and I think there's a difference. Like I said, I read a lot of classic literature, and even Michael Crichton stuff, I said, things with mechs, anything that's written and geared towards men, there's that kind of the talk about women and all that stuff. It doesn't bother me because I'm yeah, that's probably how it was. But I'm I can't even imagine in 1958 that people, that a guy is this hateful and people are oh, it's okay. And I feel the difference is that there's authors who love women, and there's other authors who are love women and that they're sexually attracted to women. That's a totally different thing. You can tell a male author who loves women, who you can just tell. I'm just saying. It is so easy. And this author, I feel he was probably sexually attracted to women, but I don't see this as, it's not the same. It's just not the same. So, yeah, James Bond hates women, and I can't figure out why, but at the end of the book, of course, he gets, well, spoilers. I'm gonna start talking spoilers. The female agent that is there, I didn't feel she had much of a character. Her name's Vesper, and she is basically just kind of there. And I knew, I'm sure she's probably a double agent, and she ends up being, but James can't see it because he sees the things that she does and the mistakes that she makes as oh, well, it's because she's a dumb female. and not in like, she's messing up on purpose and playing me. Okay? So it's his own attitudes and his own inability to see like what she's doing as like she's doing it on purpose. And it's always just like, oh no, she's so dumb, she's so ignorant. Even when she's kidnapped, like he doesn't feel bad for her, even knowing that she will probably be raped. I freaking hate that. Even knowing that, like he thinks that that's what's gonna happen. And he's like, man, whatever. Luckily that doesn't happen, but of course she was never in any danger because she's a double agent, but he thinks that that's gonna happen. He's like, man, whatever. So yeah, I don't think I would recommend this one. I don't even feel like, the problem is like, I think I would have liked this book if there would have been no inner monologue in his head about women. Like if you would have taken that aspect out of the story. And I will say, from what I understand from reading comments online and seeing people taking quotes from the original source material, they have changed the Audible version and the newest releases of like the paperback version. There is a very spicy line about him believing that once he's possessed her, had her, been with her, that he will never fully like own her. So every time he's with her, it will always have the tang of grape. I hate that I have to use that. So annoying. But yeah, that's a quote, and that is not in the version that I was listening to on Audible. They have changed some stuff. I think even they thought, they're like, oh yeah, that's probably a little bit too far. And I don't think you should change the artist's original work or their intent. I'm not about that, but I do see why they probably felt it was somewhat necessary. But like I said, yeah, you should know how bad James Bond is. And I think it's just a bummer because, like I said, if you would have just removed his like, oh man, dumb women, stupid women, oh, useless women, like it would have been a good book. I think the story is interesting. I think the writing is good. And I don't think that it's integral to his character to make him that way, because if you could have made it, and he's also not how you see him in movies. Like old school Sean Connery, like charismatic, suave, like just, I believe that women are like, I'm interested in that. Even like Pierce Brosnan, who doesn't do anything for me, but I'm like, I get it. I see what's happening here. I'm like, these are guys that it's like, yeah, you walk into a room, it's like you're working the room, you're really good at looking, you have money, you have this appeal. Like you're a gentleman. Like he doesn't even have that. He doesn't even try with her in the beginning. He's like constantly keeping this like, like forcing her away from him, being very cold to her at certain times, just be like, hey, this is about the job, which makes sense, but not if he's eventually trying to sleep with her. Like I'm saying, they don't even make him like this like irresistible figure where you're like, oh yeah, I can, like he may have this inner thoughts, but he knows how to act and play the part to get what he wants. Like he's not even willing to do that. So why would you want him? Like he's not even putting in the work to trick you into being like, no, I'm great. Like he can think whatever he wants about these women, but he should at least be putting in the work to be like, look at how great I am. Don't you want to be with me? Like I'm amazing. And I've got like, so much going for me, and you should, and like, that's the thing. He doesn't. He's like just kind of a jerk. And I don't see why she wanted to be with him. And he doesn't even want, like, he doesn't really view her as human and a person and have these, more complex feelings towards her until he gets tortured and hurt. And then she comes and visits him in the hospital. And then it's like, oh, it's different with her. And I'm like, it's different with her because she takes care of you. She's there for you. She's doing stuff for you. Like she's serving you. Why is it different with her? And he claims like he's in love with her and gonna ask her to marry him after a few weeks. And I'm like, what? Like it's such a like turnaround for this character that he was suddenly so into her and wanted to be with her that I feel like it was just to set up the ending of like the ultimate betrayal by her, which should have been done totally differently. You should have set up that he was kind of more naive, and it wasn't that he did, no disdain for women, but like he was indifferent. He was keeping, it was about the work. He's about the job. He's, doing this because he's a patriot and cares about his country, and he's gonna, go against these Russian agents no matter what. And then he falls for her, and then there's the ultimate betrayal, and then you can hate women, but you can't do it now because it doesn't make any sense, and you're just awful. Absolutely awful. And I will say, I am consistent with this. I have gone on about this with female characters, if they're man-haters and there's no reasoning and you're just gonna make them be like, oh no, men are stupid, men are awful. I had this issue with the Graceling where they let the female, like she beat up the male lead, like she treated him really bad. And I was like, if this was a man, I wouldn't be okay with it. And if it's a woman doing it, I'm still not okay with it because I, at least, am consistent. So those are my thoughts on Casino Royale. I didn't like it. I probably will never read anything else by this author. Oh, but he also wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which I'm like, I was in shock. How can this man write this awful trash and also write Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which I don't think is great, but like I remember the movie being like very lighthearted and whimsical and kind of like, you know, like this wonderful childhood movie. I'm like, I don't know. That's crazy. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And I will give a quick update on Prisoner of Beauty. I rated that a 7 out of 10. I felt like the ending was a bit rushed and I wasn't completely satisfied with some of the characters' arcs, but really good and definitely worth checking out. So yeah, let me know what I should read next. If there's a book similar to this, I like spy stuff. I like thrillers. I really like that kind of stuff. I really wanted to like this. I totally went into this giving it the benefit of the doubt. And I thought all the people saying that like James Bond was a misogynist and all stuff, like, I was like, that's overblown. I'm sure it's overblown. Like the book is probably so much better. Nope, it's way worse, so much worse. Anyway, let me know what you're reading in the comments. And if you have any recommendations, let me know and I will talk to you guys soon.